Okay, today we're just going to watch a PowerPoint about environmental risk assessment. And so we have to understand how scientists evaluate the damage that can be caused to an ecosystem when we need to build roads or do some other sort of big project like a hospital or add something to an ecosystem. So, for example, what if we need roads? And if you take a look, we've got this beautiful wilderness with a road running through it. And so we have to understand that scientists have to protect the environment, but they also have to allow human activity to proceed. So we need roads, and we want a nice, safe environment. We want to have a healthy ecosystem with lots of healthy organisms in it. So we have to ask ourselves, how do we manage human needs with those of the environment? So it's called a risk assessment, and that's how scientists evaluate how much problems could arise when they build roads. They also have to look at the gains and the damage that can be done by mounting these big projects like putting a road in. Okay, so we need to understand the process whereby scientists go about um, assessing the damage that could possibly result from a big project like building a road through a wilderness. So the first thing that a scientist has to do is assess. And that just means they have to determine what's the problem that could arise if we build a road in this area. The next thing that they have to do is analyze the risk, which just means, do we need the road? Is there another road that could serve the same purpose? What happens to the environment if we do build this road? And is it beneficial enough for the humans that it outweighs the cost to the environment? The next thing is we need to educate the public and just let them know, well, here's what we plan on doing, and here's some of the things that we found. Then they have to talk to politicians, because politicians are the ones that use public funds to build these roads. So we have to make them aware of some of the problems and the findings that um, we may have discovered during the assessment. And the next thing is to follow through. If we said we'll build a road, but we'll make sure that we have corridors for wildlife. So if a wolf or a fox needs to get from one side of the road to the other, is there a safe place for him to travel that way? And the benefits are quite numerous. One of the things that we have to remember is there's water all over the wilderness. So if we take good care to be responsible when we're doing these big projects, we can keep the waterways clean. We can minimize the effects to habitat and help wildlife. Sometimes they actually improve the situation for wildlife. And then we can use these models to do future projects, like build more roads. We also have to understand that the things we do now have consequences for the future. So one of the things that we have to understand is that if we do something locally, it can have an actual global impact. So it can impact somewhere else on the planet. So for example, if you take a look at the picture, this shows a glacier. And you see that there's a layer in the glacier after it's melted that is quite black. And this is evidence to scientists that combustion can have an impact in other places on the planet. So if we burn fossil fuels, they actually end up in the glaciers. And this can have serious consequences. It can actually enhance melting, which is not a good thing because the sun gets absorbed by these dark deposits on the glaciers. And so we have to learn lessons from this. If we take information that we learn and use it to make our world a better place, we can actually maybe stem the tide of problems that we've caused by not really paying too much attention. And so we should always be aware that things that we've done in history we can not repeat. Okay, so what we have to do is make sure that we understand the following: that human activity impacts the environment, and we have to take measures to minimize the risk. We have to educate people about it and hold politicians accountable, make sure that they follow through with what they said they were going to do. Activities that take place now can have an impact way into the future, as we saw in the glacier. And we also have to always consider the impact that we have on future generations and try to minimize them. So we can't stop progress, but we can progress responsibly and sustainably. So take this seriously. We do have to take care of our planet. That's it. We've just got one.